Good morning, I'm Vinny, this is Stefano. This method was first founded by us in the study guide, which was then experienced in the in the second week by one of the students. The lotus blossom can be done in groups or individual. The participants would write down the main problem in the middle of a whiteboard or on a post-it and put them up on the wall with lots of space around it. Around that, the participants come up with 8 themes based on the main problem. You write them down surrounding the main problem.
So from these 8 themes, participants come up with 8 ideas for each theme and surround that specific theme. If everything goes well, you should come up with 64 ideas for the main problem. Because you can get potentially 64 ideas, we thought it was best suited to do this method with our participants.
So we customized this method for the participant to split into 2 groups of 4. We knew we were going to get 8 participants, which meant that we could potentially get double the ideas. In case we were not going to get all 8 participants, we were prepared to either keep doing it in 2 groups unless there were only 5 people or less. Although we thought the instructions were clear enough that the participant would have to write the themes and ideas on post-its and put them on the wall, they felt more comfortable writing on the board itself.
Also, we want them to come up with 8 themes and 8 ideas for each theme. And although these appeared to be a lot of themes and ideas, we told the groups to come up with at least 4 themes and as many ideas as they could. Our second diverging method that we used is mashup, and that was found on the Digital Society School source. And this method consists of dividing the board into 4 parts and name them human needs, global goals, technology, and mashup. And the goal of this technique is to come up with as many ideas as you can for each part, except from the mashup, starting from human needs until to technology. And you give participants 5 minutes each, and then you create a mashup by randomly picking one idea from each part and try to come up with another idea.
We chose this method because we believe that our How Might We question considers all the parts in the mashup. Human needs because humans go to the supermarket, of course. Global goals because we want sustainable to be part of the supermarket. And technology because we believe that technology is moving forward with time. We customized this method in a way where the participants write the ideas on post-its and fill the box of the parts as full as they can within 5 minutes. So moving on from the divergent to convergent methods, the first convergent method we chose was a Venn diagram, in other words, clustering. This method was also found on Digital Society School. The Venn diagram is a method where you collect all the information you have and cluster them into groups. You do this until the participants have clustered everything.
The reason why we choose this method is because we believe that being able to group all of their ideas in one major group, this way they could minimize all the ideas. Even though the diverging parts were separate, we customized this method for all participants to work together to cluster all the ideas. Our second converging method was dot voting, and the source for this method was, again, Digital Society School. And this method allows each participant to get an equal number of votes to pick their favorite ideas. The idea with the most votes would be the end solution.
We selected this method because having a democratic voting system would work best to give each participant equal number to vote for an idea. The way we customize this method is by allowing the participants 3 votes each. We noticed as well that since the clustering wasn't as big as we'd hoped for, the participant could choose any single idea that they wanted to vote for. So moving on from converging to the optimization part, we used the method Scamper. This method was found on creativeproblemsolving.com. Each of the letters in the word means something. The idea is to use the scamper technique to apply it to your idea and see what different outcomes you can get. We selected this method because this was a good opportunity for the participants to talk about the solution from a different angle, by either substituting something or combine this idea with something else.
Instead of letting the participants perform the optimization phase with each letter, we told them to choose only one letter because of the short time we were running out of. And the letter chosen by the group was the C, that stands for combine. The way we ensured a good flow for our session was that the ideas that were generated from the diverging method Lotus Blossom gave the participants some inspiration for the next diverging phase, that was mashup. We allowed them to look at each other's Lotus Blossom so that they can maybe look at information that they had not thought about before. The ideas that came from the second diverging method were used in the first converging method, that was a Venn diagram, in which the ideas were grouped.
From the clusters that were formed, they were used to carry out the second convergent method, which is dot voting. This allowed for a more specific choice of ideas to be used for the optimization method, scamper, to evaluate their chosen ideas from dot voting. And action.
Yeah, I said Lakshmi was hitting.
Now while he figures that out, the next part is the icebreaker. For this, I would like each of you guys to stand up. And for this, we're going to play the supermarket item game. Sorry, item name. It's basically not like the name game. So the rules are, let's say you say the alphabet to yourself in your head, and the person next to you says stop. Whatever letter you come up with, the next person will say an item in the supermarket that starts with that letter. Let's say you say rice. So we're not going to use rice this time, but let's say you say rice. The next person would say eggs, and it continues on. You would say an item with S. You have 5 seconds to answer.
Under pressure.
If not, that's fine. We'll let it slide a little bit. If you're not able to say anything, you're out, unfortunately. We'll do this for 10 minutes. What letter?
Gist. I was at G.
G.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, T. Tea bag.
Something with A?
Almond.
D. Oh God.
Hard.
Can we use English and Dutch?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can use Italian.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
I'll say today.
You just said a random word.
Oh, so
F.
What does that mean?
F?
Great.
drive. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
We'll make it 10 seconds.
How might supermarkets encourage customers to purchase sustainable products?
Okay, that's the design challenge for today. Do any of you guys have any idea what it means, or rephrase it if you can?
Is it like how the supermarket can adjust things so their products are more sustainable, or more like they can encourage customers to like buy the sustainable products they already have?
Yeah. A short story and about the ideas that you pick, and then you put them on here.
It's like a combination of the three.
Yes.
Hij ging logisch woord om te schrijven.
Nee, ik wil het wel zo schermen. Winacties. Like buy calendar, buy this project, fill in the code, and maybe you win an item. I don't know how nice.
I got one.
Yeah.
If you don't buy sustainable products, get your hands chopped off.
To have the information on the app. You can also
geforceerd wordt om
order. I mean, I know that's already a thing. You doesn't order on it.
But I have the mashup.
You can have maybe
app.
you pre-order
Extra
on the app
en ook die
when you
van
get
de app.
to the store. Say,
Die vertelt over een
you go there to pay and everything's
Write
already
it
ready.
down.
I played myself, but okay.
And add
2 minutes.
Okay.
Pricing.
Want daar kan ik niks mee. Nee.
If you buy it and you eat it, but you think it's healthy,
For our own session, the method that we chose is brainwriting. We located this method on creative problem solving. The method is where every person gets a form in which they have to fill in the first row of 3 ideas. Once done, everyone puts it in a pile while taking the next one and adding 3 more ideas. This is continued until all boxes are full. The previous session that was carried out, we decided that the final ideas were not really answering the how might we question how we had thought of.
The reason why we chose this method is because it allowed us to come up with ideas that answer the how might we questions, and also allow us to build on each other's ideas. We customized the method by using a normal A4 sheet of paper and writing the ideas on post-its, as this would allow us to use these post-its from this method for the converging method. Also, we decided to swap the A4 only once. Moving on from the diverging phase, our first of 2 converging technique is dot voting, and the source for this method is still Digital Society School. This technique entails giving a set of dots to each participant, which they have to vote on any idea using dots. The dots are counted and the ideas are placed in popularity. We chose this method to get a specific number of the ideas that we liked the most from the 12 ideas that were generated in the diverging phase. We customized this idea by having 4 dots to vote. While doing this session, we grouped the ideas that were similar and then vote on them.
Moving on to our second converging method, we chose to do evaluation matrix. This method was located on the Leslie Hernandez diverging and converging tools. The convergent method evaluation matrix is when a grid is made where on one axis the ideas are placed while on the other axis a list of criteria is made which is listed in order of importance. We chose this method as it would allow us to evaluate our ideas that we got from the previous converging method based on some important criteria.
The way we customized this method was by coming up with our own list of criteria using the UX factors that would evaluate each idea based on the how might we questions, and then numbering them from 0 to 5, where 0 was the lowest score and 5 the highest. From this we would choose the one with the highest score. The ideas that were generated from diverging were used to converge through dot voting and to group some of them together, since some were built upon each other as they would not work on their own.
Following up the dot voting, the ideas on the post-its were used for the evaluation matrix where the criteria were based on the UX factors, which allowed us to come up with two final solutions. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah. Pre-populate, as it said.
So how might supermarkets encourage customers to purchase,